Today's Raising Karter podcast is about what you should buy your kids and what you should not, and this was my idea.
All right. So we're going to talk about the things you should buy your kids, the toys and gifts, and the stuff you
Should not.
But first, we're going to start with the stuff you should not buy your kids. For obvious reasons and just for because they not going to like the stuff. And that nothing pisses off a parent more than that when you spend your hard-earned money on something and then the kid don't want it. So, number 10. We got 10 things for things that gifts you shouldn't buy your kids, and we got like 7 or 8 good ideas that you should. But number 10, unsupervised internet access.
No. Because who doesn't they could be doing that? Like, okay, so if you're going to buy them a phone or something, it should have a firewall at one point. And you should be able to download the stuff like YouTube, sure, but you gotta add a firewall or something. If you don't know how to add a firewall, look it up. But yeah, no, not a good idea. But it kind of does depend on what age.
Yeah, I mean, of course it depends on what age, but I mean, no matter what age.
Like if he or she is going into like almost an adult, aka 18, sure.
Yeah, but then, yeah.
But then on the other side, you have like still a kid like 10, 11, 8, 9. Not a good idea.
All right. Hobbies and supplies he's not interested in.
Example, I'm not interested in hockey. I'm not interested in hockey. I am. He goes and
Are
buys
you interested in
yes.
hockey or not? Say something you're not interested in. I didn't know you were interested in hockey.
I'm not interested in math. He goes and he gets me a bunch of math supplies. Now, all the kids out there, it's like if your dad buys you something that's not too cheap and that's not expensive, and they buy you it and you're not interested, you can say, I'm not really interested in that. But you can still give it a chance.
It's also for the parents. You got to know your kid and know what they're in.
You can't just go out there and buy them something. It could be like a $500,000 PC or something, and they're not interested in it. Then what are you gonna do? $500 down the drain.
All right. Number 8, noisy and annoying toys. Toys that are extremely loud or just real repetitive. Riley's got toys like this. She's got a phone like this that just keeps playing the same songs over and over again. This is a bad idea. But a lot of people just buy some. Oh, that's a cell phone. It looks cute. It's got 4 songs on it, and those kids are gonna play those songs over and over. You're gonna wish you never bought that thing. Okay.
The first time I wanted to throw it out the window, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
But it's not a good idea because now it could be on the parent for buying this. Like if it's something like a phone, sure, it's not on the parent. Because the stuff like a little cute phone, if I could get it, I would. It's like a pink phone. Like it's like this big, I think. And then it has like all this, and all day she's like, "Oh, McDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O." But yeah, it's not a good idea because then the parents are gonna get mad at the kid, and it's kind of your fault because you bought the toy and you didn't think, is this gonna be noisy or distractive?
Yeah, you just bought it because you wanted your kid to have a cell phone, but it's got 4 songs on it, and they're gonna drive you crazy. Number 7, toys for a much younger child. Something a gift for him that was for like a 4 or 5-year-old. That's a bad idea. That's just for somebody who's not
a busybody.
You're not wanting your kid to grow up and you're buying stuff for them that you think they might be into that they're not into. Do you think that's a good idea?
No, it's not a good idea because if they're growing up like it now, this would be a problem.
Because like you always get mad about us your lunch boxes saying that You kept saying, "Oh, this is a Spider-Man lunch. I can't take this to school."
Because I was in second grade still using the Spider-Man lunchbox. Hey, it's my choice. I'm not saying that being in second grade isn't like if you like Spider-Man and you're in second grade, it's fine, that's your choice. But I just don't like Spider-Man that much. Like Miles, sure, I like Miles,
Yeah.
but Peter, he just does dumb stuff.
Okay, here's another one. Fashion forward, but inappropriate clothing.
Like clothes that your kid might not like. No.
Trendy clothes, almost stuff that's made for like in adults. I don't those. That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. As a child, you got to put a limit on it. Maybe when they get a little older, they can do more of this stuff. But buying fashion forward, like inappropriate, not age appropriate clothing. You got a third grader who's dressing like she's going to the nightclub, or sixth grader. No, it's probably not a good idea. What do you think about that?
No, but by the way, if you're thinking of buying your kids like a good shoe, Jordan ones are the thing. They're uncomfortable, but they're the thing. And there's something that I noticed about that I might have to help you. Shoes at a young age, like 4 or 5. Sure, you can buy those like trendy shoes. Sure, go ahead. But like the clothes,
It's also not a good idea because a lot of these trendy and popular stuff is made for adults. So you buy, like, he's got a pair of shoes that they're really not made for kids because the color of the shoe, um it's kind of uncomfortable. He complains about the comfort, but he wanted the shoe. It looked good, but it's not a good. It's not. It's probably not a good idea from the manufacturer, people who made the shoe, and it's not a good idea for the parent to buy the shoe because some stuff is just not. Kids aren't ready for it.
yeah, these shoes hurt so bad. They look so cool. They're like yay
Yeah.
big. I would go get them for you guys.
Okay. Here's another one. Overly expensive items like gadgets, toys, unrealistic like expectations, or
Like
just
overly.
materialism, like buying stuff, kind of creating like a materialistic mind state in a kid. Like, oh, I got this, I got that. Kid, your 8 or 9 year old kids got a shoe collection bigger than adults. They got all, like, bad idea. Bad idea. You're creating a monster. Do you think that's true? Can a parent go overboard with buying expensive stuff?
The crazy shoes collection. I've seen someone buy their 2-year-old an iPhone 15. She probably doesn't even know how to work that thing. And I've seen someone buy their son, a 4-year-old son, a PC. Save that stuff for when he's actually old enough to know how to sing his ABCs. Wait for a right age to give them the stuff that you want to buy them. I'm not saying that you can't buy them the stuff, but I am saying wait for the right age.
Okay, here's another one. Dangerous toys, BB guns, sharp objects, things like. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but people still do it. They buy their kids dangerous toys or dangerous weapons all the time, and then it backfires on them. So you really got to know the child's mentality. You know, their how mature they are, and it's really not a good idea if you're not in tune with that kind of stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, like a Nerf gun is fine because the tip is like if you've ever seen a Nerf bullet, it's like yay big, and then like this part right here is this rubber, it's soft rubber. But yeah, but a lot of things, yeah, BB guns you should not buy unless it's like you're supervising your kid with it. You have to supervise them with it. You have to be with them when they're using it. There has to be at least a limit when they're using it.
Right.
They can go outside and shoot the neighbor.
Yeah. Okay, we got two more for the not good idea portion of this, of toys or gifts. Number two, complicated electronics. Because you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna have to figure out how the hell to work the thing. All right. Every time something goes wrong with it, you are gonna have to fix it. So do yourself a favor and don't even buy it until they know how to operate it. Just because they see it, like, oh, do you ask them? Do you know how to work this thing? No. Well, then you can't have it.
Here's something that I want to ask you. What if, or that changing colors, but what if you know how to work the thing, but they don't?
It's not a good, yeah. It's just because you're not gonna be around all the time. Any gift or anything that they have, they should know how to work it. So complicated,
Electronics.
smartphones and things like that. You need to know how to work the thing and operate it on your own. And here we go. The number one thing that you should not, that's a bad idea for buying a gift, toy for your anywhere from 7 to 13 is violent or age inappropriate video games.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with Fortnite is fine. It's fine, okay, because
Violent and inappropriate
it's not
video games.
violent. It can bring outrage. It's brought outrage in me.
But
For example, Call of Duty. I don't think
yeah, no,
if you're like 7, 6, 5, you should not be playing because it involves real blood.
violent games inappropriate for a young for
From like 5 all the way to 11, you still should not be
I mean
playing.
most those games they should have like don't they got like age limit like
Call of Duty does not. They
but
should,
it's
but it
common
really doesn't.
sense. Investigate the game. Look, you can go on
Yeah.
YouTube and look and see the gameplay and see what's going on with it before you buy the game. Just don't buy it. Just don't be a father who just because you're not around all the time or you too into whatever you're doing, you're just trying to, make them happy or hush them. You just give them whatever you want. No. Do not do that.
But sometimes what will happen is the father's not around that much. So he'll just buy it for the son to make it. You have a son, he's 16 or something, and you're not around. Then you like try to buy them something like a car to try to make it better, but who knows? They might not have their license. So that won't work because who knows? You could buy them something that they're not interested in and violent video games. You just bought them something because you're not around that much.
Okay. Yeah, so the violent video games isn't a good idea. Or like he's saying, just buying something just to kind of pacify, your kid. You don't know anything about it, but you just buy it just so they can have it and all hell breaks loose. Now we're gonna switch to the good ideas, toys, gifts, whatever ideas, things that you should, do with your kids. We save the good stuff for last. Here's one. Hobbies and interests.
Always good, You can
But
like
listen, let's hold on. No, hold on. You got to know their hobbies and interests. That's a part of being a good father, a good parent. You got to know the things that they like, either like memberships or passes to different things they might be interested in doing. So that's what do you think about that?
yeah, it's always a good idea to buy your kids that you're interested in. If they're interested in sports, it's always a good idea to buy a baseball glove and a couple
Yeah.
maybe, so they can like go outside and play catch. I'm interested in basketball. He bought a basketball, so now we just play basketball some. And it's always a good idea to buy your son hobby so he can explore. Buy your son stuff that his hobby, like video games that your son's hobby is in. Like if your son is interested in basketball, you could buy him a basketball game like he did for me. So your son can kind of like learn more about the game because they might not know all about basketball.
Signing them up for soccer, signing them up for Little League Baseball. There might be things at the museum or different science clubs and stuff like that that your kid is interested. You got to know you got to know your
Yeah.
son or your daughter. Number 7 in the good things that you should do, or gifts or toys that you should, is outdoor gear. A bicycle, a scooter, skateboard, things that you might have seen and seen that, they had seen somebody else with it, and they're like, oh, I wish I had one of those. You gotta always keep your ears to the street when it comes to your kids. You gotta know gotta be kind of nosy and gotta know what they're into.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that?
Skateboarding, sure. And we'll go with that. And he sees him and a friend has a skateboard, and I'm like, that's a cool skateboard. And he's listening. You always, like he said, have to keep your ears open for what your son says about, or your daughter, about what she wants. So you can be like, should I get this because she's interested in it? Or should I wait for the right time? Or should I ask her if she wants something else, like if she's interested or he's interested in something? Like he could say he wants a skateboard, and then you could ask him, what did he want? Because you can only think that he wants a skateboard. Who knows? He could want a skateboard and a skate in the Tony Hawk video game. So you have to ask them really what you want and keep your ears open.
Exactly. Comfortable, stylish stuff that fits his interests, stuff that he likes. Like he could wear a jogging suit to school every day if it was up to him, or um a soccer, jersey, or Michael Jordan, things that reflect his interests, things that show off his personality, who he is, who she is, the things that they like. Those are great gifts. That's what, not stuff that you're trying to, make them look fashionable and keep up with, the internet. No, things that they like. They might not like that stuff. You know, he could wear a sweatsuit every day. That's what he likes. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, and like your son or daughter could like a pair of shoes, and and you don't know what you want to get them for their birthday. You can ask you like to wear, and you can like take notes, and you can let them like maybe dress themselves or pick what they want to wear, so you can see what they're interested in. You can see like, okay, so they're interested in Jordan, they're interested in sweatpants. You can use that to get them stuff, so you don't just buy stuff and they don't like it. So you need to keep your eyes, ears open because you can see what they like by getting them stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, we do let him wear what he wants, but parents, there's a certain extent to that. You got, some, I see some parents just let their kids wear anything, and they wear Halloween costumes in school and all. Like, you got to understand where you're going. You got to get them ready for the real world. You can't wear just anything to work. If there's a dress code for work, you have to dress the appropriate way. You want to be comfortable, but you got to kind of understand like
There's
what's going on. Toys and games,
Yeah, sure,
board
because
games, puzzles, if they're interested in that, age appropriate, like Legos and stuff, like, those are good gifts if they're interested in that. If they're
yeah,
not interested in that, then it's not a good gift. Like we said in the bad portion of the video. If they're interested in, toys or, games, it could be video games too that they're interested in. What do you think about that?
yeah, like you can buy them a board game. There is a game in there upstairs in my room, and he bought it for me, and I was very interested in it. It's kind of the only thing I do on my Nintendo now, and he got it. So you can kind of know what your kid is interested in by letting them explore in other ideas. Like he said, video games and board games. If you get them that, you can get them board games, they'll be more interested in it. You can be like, okay, they're interested in board games. Maybe I could find some more board games or get some more board games so they can be interested in it, and then they can tell you the board games that they like. You can maybe introduce some ideas, like show them some board games. They like it, they don't like it. If they don't like it, you don't have to buy it. But yeah, it's always a good idea because the things that you buy can lead to other things that they like. If you buy them something, it can lead to more stuff. They say that they like it. So it could lead to like more open portals for you to buy them that, and then they'll tell you more about what they like.
Good answer. I can dig it. Technical and technology and like gadgets. It's kind of the same as when we mentioned it in the bad. You can buy a lot of things that your kids just aren't ready for, but they're, come on, this is 2024. Like, you, your kid is gonna want to use a laptop or an iPad or something like that. But you have to have parental control, and you
You
want to.
have to have a line where it's like where there's parental control. You have to like put a firewall or put a line where they like what they can do or what they can't do, or else they're just gonna go in doing stuff that you don't want them to do. But you didn't explain that, so there has to be a line or a firewall of what you don't want them to do.
Right, right. Creative supplies. He likes to draw, so whether it's like painting, pencils, you know, paints, colored pencils, anything. That's a good. That's a good gift if they're into drawing and creating stuff
Yeah.
on canvases, on paper. But I mean, people, they could even create stuff like on their laptop. That's another good idea for gifts for your son or daughter. What do you think? So
Yeah, like if your son doesn't really tell you what he likes that much, you can get him stuff. Like you can get him some paper, some pencils, some markers, and you can just give them to him so he can like explore. Who knows? You can know that he's a really good drawer by looking and getting him stuff that you can interest. I'm not saying that you have to go out there and buy him for example, a million things. I'm saying that you can do one at a time, not too expensive. If you have stuff at home that you think that he might be interested, go ahead. Nothing's stopping you. And there's nothing stopping you from getting him stuff that you think that he could like, or that could make a new hobby for him.
here's the last two: sports equipment. So if whatever his favorite sports is, a soccer ball, basketball, tennis racket, helmets, anything that's going to help him be active in the sport that he or she likes to compete in. Get those are great gifts for them to have. Soccer, the cleats or the shin guards or whatever. What do you think about that?
Yeah, because you can buy them a football so they can throw around. That won't only bring out the things that your son likes. It will also bring out a father and son bond, or a father and daughter bond, which is very important. A son and a dad bond, or a son and or and a daughter and a dad bond. Really, you at this point you get it. Yeah, and
You
it's
can get that by buying gifts, buying like sports stuff. It's
yeah,
not
you can show a bond by hanging out with your son with the stuff that you get.
the last and final one:
No,
books and educational material. I think it might be corny. I don't care. Books are the best gift you can buy your kid.
that's
If they spend your last, if you have to sometimes, on books, helping them learn, helping them further their education. It doesn't have to be school stuff as far as education. They could just might be interested in different things, positive things. Because there are some weird books and stuff like that but that's if they want to venture off into that, they can do that. You can't go wrong with a good, with a book. It's number one for a reason. So I think, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Books.
I love reading the Captain Underpants Dogman Smile. It's very exploring, and I've learned a lot from actually reading those books. I've learned some from school, and I've learned from some books about stuff. I'm not talking about school books. Now, most people don't know this, but you can actually learn stuff from books, like not school books, but you can still learn stuff from books. It doesn't have to be a school book. It can be like a comedy book, and you could still maybe learn something from that. There's different ways to learn in, and you can learn in different ways through books. Not
Books are they're number one on this list. They're number one on this with this podcast for good things to buy your kids, your children, ideas and gifts, and bad. It's number one because reading is so important. It can help you in so many ways, and it can just boost, can help you with your confidence. It can help you learn things that you need in everyday life, or it can help you just for entertainment. So that was this episode of the Raising Karter podcast. If it brought you any value, check out this video right here that we made about how important reading is.
Yep. Peace, and there's different ways to learn.
Peace.